Well, hello there, everyone. We're back today, and we're going to do a little bit of walking about the property, check on our plantings, and see how everything's going. Because over the past 2 days, we've had some torrential downpours, and extremely heavy. And we're going to take a look at the plants, see if there's any damage, and we'll go through them as we do a walk around. We're currently over here on the south side of the house by the driveway bed. Let's see how the peppers and tomatoes are doing over here. Now, we're at the first pepper, and this is a sweet banana pepper that I was so concerned because it wasn't setting peppers. And as you can see, right in there it's got one. One there, another there, and it's now full of small peppers just about everywhere. The one concerning issue about this plant, and I hope the camera can pick it up, did you see the yellowing of the leaves? Now that could be because of lack of water. It can also be a lack of nitrogen or magnesium or manganese. Now I will be fertilizing these later this evening with some chicken manure. That'll give them the nitrogen they need, and I'll water that in with a mixture of Epsom salts and water. So that'll take care of any magnesium deficiency. Now they're wilting a little bit because it's a high noon. It's extremely hot and the sun's extremely bright. Second one here, even though I don't see any peppers starting to form or any large ones, there are small ones starting to develop. And if I stand back, you can see these plants are now about, as you can see, these plants are about 5 feet right now. But they still have that yellowing in the leaves, and that concerns me. But like I say, we'll load up on the nitrogen fertilizer via chicken manure, and we'll water it in with Epsom salts and water, and hopefully that'll take care of the situation. Now we're over here at cherry tomato, which is rather large. And we've been picking cherry tomatoes. We picked all of them. We picked all the ripe ones off late yesterday evening. But there's plenty more coming on all up through here. And this is the Super Sweet 100 variety. It's an heirloom variety. And even though it hasn't been overly productive, it supplied me with enough cherry tomatoes for my salads. And lastly in this bed we have a cowhorn pepper. And here again I was concerned that it wasn't going to set any peppers. And I added potash around the base. And it's starting to get some small peppers starting to form, as you can see. But it still has that condition of the yellowing leaves. So here again, I'll be hitting this with the chicken manure and watering it in with the Epsom salts and water later this evening. So with that, we'll head on over here to the end of the driveway and take a look at that little driveway bed that we planted out during Father's Day. And what we did here, we planted in a basil, which is right here. Still looking good, just starting to see some new growth. And a rosemary. Both are surviving. And if you look down along the soil level, you'll see all the flowers that were planted. They're starting to grow, though they have struggled in the heat and the drought that we've had over the last 3 weeks. But now here over the last 2 days, we've had really huge, massive thunderstorms come through, which have dropped about 6 inches of rain over the last 2 days. So hopefully that'll keep them alive and start them thriving. But let's head on into the back of the property and see how our other plantings are going. Now you can see right here this large branch that has came out of the oak trees, shattered everywhere. See some more right there. Another piece of it right here. That's just what happens when we have those massive thunderstorms come through. There's a lot of high wind associated with it, and this is the result. So I have to get out here after I do this video and get this all cleaned up. Nothing appears hurt. Just limbs down in the yard. That's normal for living under large ancient oak trees. So let's head over here, take a look at the south side of the property and see how it's coming. What I'm going to show you is 3 of the 4 blueberry bushes that I put in a week or so back. And the concerning thing here with me looking at these is the leaves turning red. Now that could be because the pH of the soil is off, and blueberries need an acidic soil. So I'm going to be checking that later. Or it could be a nutrient deficiency, but that too could be because of soil pH. Other than that, they're still surviving, and they were rescue plants. They were not all that healthy when I planted them. So we're hoping they'll survive. Now that we're over here, we can take a look at the truck tire planters. And they are thriving, as you can see. Now if you watch the video when deer come to dinner, you'll know, looking at these cantaloupe plants, what an amazing comeback they've made. Because these were ate off. As you can see right here, there was nothing but stems left after the deer got finished with them, as was this Parks Whopper Improved Tomato. Now they didn't do anything to the peppers, and these peppers are loving these planters. They are loaded up in there. See all the peppers there, and green bell peppers here. Now this is a lunchbox pepper, and it is just loaded up from top to bottom with peppers. And this cantaloupe, in the first planter, was also totally ate down by the deer. Nothing but stems. And look at the amazing comeback it's made. It's just simply beautiful. Full of blossoms. And hopefully some of those set and make cantaloupes. Over here we have 4 Bonnie green bell peppers in this planting, and you can see right there all the peppers setting. And we still have this one here right there. Look at how large it is. There's several more on this plant starting to form. And these plants are just full of blossoms. They're really loving these truck tire planters. Now, if you haven't seen the video that I did on how I put these together, and how I filled them, you might want to watch it. And it doesn't matter whether you're putting in a truck tire planter, raised bed, or whatever. I used a special way to do it, and that is what has contributed to this amazing pepper growth, as well as the way these cantaloupes have come back. That video I will link to the end screen, and it was entitled, "If You Got Tires, You Got a Totally Free Garden Planter." I urge you to watch it, see how we added the soil to these tires, and hopefully you'll be able to do the same. These are just doing amazing. And another thing, this just shows you what you can do in a very small amount of space. And these truck tires, they will outlast me. So let's head on over here to the old compost pile planting and see how it's coming along. And over here in this planting, we've got potatoes and okra growing. And the potatoes are starting to die off the tops. And that's telling me it's not going to be long now before I'll be digging up some potatoes out of this bed. The okra is coming along nicely, as you can see. And it won't be too long now that I'll be planting runner beans around the perimeter as well, so it can start climbing up this fence around this particular planting bed. Now I will be adding another layer of fencing on it so the beans will be able to climb higher. But this planting bed's working out well. The okra is just loving it. Now we're going to take you over to look at the old raised bed that we redid a couple weeks back. Added a timber, added more soil, and planted in some herbs and tomato plants. And all of these plants were rescue plants that I got from Walmart. These tomatoes here were all wilted and dry. Brought them home, nursed them back to some health, and then I stuck them in the bed. But something I want you to note. You see all this brown? You see all this brown? That's where the rain splashed soil all the way up these stems. That's how hard the rain has come down the last 2 days. Now I'm starting to wonder if these tomatoes are going to make it, because it does appear they may have a virus. Now I will hit them later on this evening for sunset with a fungicide. And what tells me they may be sick with a virus is you can see here on the stems, you can see the brown spots. That's not good. That's not dirt. That's something to do with a virus or fungus right on the tomato plants. This one too is showing signs of some type of disease. And this is a cherry tomato. It's a husky red cherry tomato. And that's a chance you take. Whenever you buy plants that are about to die at a big box store, I do it every year. Sometimes I have success, sometimes not. But I am seeing new growth here on this tomato. Not so much on the other two. But if they don't make it, I'm planting some more with my own seeds tomorrow. And when they come up and grow off a little bit, I'll just transplant them in and go from there. The dill is doing very well. You can already see it's forming its first head right there. And I can't wait, because I'm wanting to do some pickling this year, and that's why I planted dill in. And one thing I will say about dill, you can plant it once. You can leave one of these seed heads on it. You can leave one of these seed heads on it. It'll form seed, they'll dry, and they'll drop. And you'll have more dill than you wanted come next year. The garlic chives are doing great in the pot. The purple basil over here, as you can see, it got beat down by the thunderstorm. Beat right down into the ground. You can see the soil on the leaves right there. And that's just part of it, living in the deep south. But other than that, it looks really healthy. The parsley got beat down a little bit, but overall, it's still looking good too. So maybe they'll survive the storms. But what I wanted to show you over here is look at this pot right here. Now in here I planted Clemson spineless okra, which are these plants right here, really tall, looking really nice. There's 4 of them. And in the center, I planted a Parks Whopper Improved tomato plant. Now yes, this plant was ate down by the deer, and it's just starting to come back. But the okra was all ate down too, and it's come back with a vengeance. Some of this is now 2 feet tall. But the idea here was that the okra would grow, and the stems of the okra, the main stem, would act as support for the tomato plant in the center. And since it's still growing, we'll see how that experiment progresses through the season. Now on this other end, and here's where you can really see the effects of that massive rainstorm. This is a Greek oregano, and you can see right here, a lot of it was beat down into the ground. Now I'm going to pick it up a little bit here and shake the dirt off where the rain has smashed it down. But other than that, it's looking really fine. The same thing happened here with the thyme. It got beat down and covered in the soil. When that happens, you want to make sure you get on out here and lift it up, get it out of the dirt, shake it off a little bit, and it should be fine. Some of the stems look like they may have took a beating. But other than that, it's looking really good too. So the herbs are doing fine in this bed. My concern is with the 3 tomato plants. Especially this Heat Master here. And that second one is a Solar Fire. I'm just really concerned with the wilting leaves and the discoloration on the trunks, whether they're going to make it or not. And that's one thing I'd like to add right now. When you buy your transplants from a big box store, please understand they're not taken very well care of. They're either not watered very well, or they're overwatered. They're definitely overcrowded if you've ever went to a Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's and see how they just push them all together real closely. And that can cause soil-borne fungus and viruses to spread across the different plants. But I do see a little bit of new growth here. So maybe they'll pull out of it. And like I say, I'll be spraying these with a fungicide later this evening. If that don't do it, we'll just have to put some new ones in that we start ourselves from seed. But I only paid 70 cents for all of these. You can't beat that. So let's walk on up here to the clothesline pole planting where we've got the rattlesnake pole beans, straight 8 cucumbers, and a couple of the Park's Whopper tomato plants, improved variety. See how they're doing. Now here we are at the first one, and something I've never had on this property till this year has been blossom end rot on tomatoes. But I'm having it now. Of course, this right here, that's caterpillar damage, another worm. Now I guess I'll have to come out tonight and try to find that booger. Here it is again. And that's just really disheartening. 2 of the largest tomatoes on this particular tomato plant. It is starting to yellow a little bit, starting to have some leaf spot. I have fertilized it the day before all the rain hit. I may need to fertilize it again because that rain may have washed fertilizer down below the root depth. But it's got more tomatoes on it. And so far they're not damaged. But I have not been able to find the caterpillars that are causing the damage. They're here somewhere. But I'll come out tonight with a headlamp on. And I'm sure I can find it then. The rattlesnake pole beans, they're doing fine. They've had some disease issues this year, as you can see. So all you have to do, pick those leaves off when they start to turn yellow, and pick them off all the way, pick the stem with them too, and they'll regrow and they'll be just fine. And these are ready to pick again. I'm just going to have to get out here this evening and get them picked off. Most of the beans that are ready are way up in the top. But they're still producing. Now, here's our other Park's Whopper improved. And this is what I'm going to show you. See that right there? That's blossom end rot. Now that could be from not watering regularly, which I know is not the case, because I water these a lot. The other it could be because of a calcium deficiency. So what I'm going to be doing this evening as well is I'm going to be watering these tomatoes in with Epsom salts and a calcium carbonate mixture. See if that won't put an end to the blossom end rot. Now I said I couldn't find a worm. We found one right there. And that's an army worm. You don't want them. They will destroy your garden. He's got to die. But I'm sure there are more, and they're easier to see at night with a headlamp. Of course, you're going to have to do due diligence and pretty much look at every leaf. But at night, they tend to get on the top of the leaf surface. Where during the daytime, they'll stay on the underside of the leaves. Just a little tip there, folks. That's why I like to come out at night and take a look at my garden plants. And the last thing we have growing over in this clothesline pole planting is these straight 8 cucumbers. Now, these are an heirloom variety. And I'm not too impressed with them. The harvest from these has been minimal. I think to date I've picked about 10 cucumbers. This time last year, off of my burpless beauties, I had more cucumbers than one man could eat, every which way he knew how, and give them away to 4 other families. And I didn't have much more planned than what this is. So the burpless beauties, they're a hybrid. And that's something I want to bring up right now too. There's a reason people hybridize their plants. They do it to try to breed in certain traits, whether that's color, size, disease resistance, or productivity. Heirlooms, which are fairly old varieties, may or may not have any of those qualities. As you can see right here, I hope the camera will pick it up. This straight 8 has also been very susceptible to powdery mildew. You can see it right here with this white frosting on the leaf. So that leaf has to go. Now there still are cucumbers in here, and we'll see how it goes for the remainder of the season, but I will be starting new cucumbers in pots tomorrow. And I'll be starting my tried and true burpless beauty cucumbers and the Sweet Success by Burpee. Both have proven to be excellent producers and highly disease resistant. But I wanted to give these a try again. Haven't planted them in years. And now I think I know why I stopped. They're not as productive. They're prone to disease, which means if you're trying to feed your family, it's not a good option. Now we'll walk up on the Kentucky pole bean plantings. And like I say, if you watch that video when deer come to dinner, you'll know that deer came through here, and that's why they sort of look funny when I stand back. They got all leafed out up here. Down here they don't have many leaves. Well, they got way more now than what they had about a week ago. This whole area was totally naked. And what has happened is these beans have resprouted leaves and tendrils in the leaf crotches. Kentucky pole beans to do it, than the rattlesnake pole beans. It's been nearly 4 weeks, but they're starting. And we'll just have to see how they progress. Now I've got to pick these two today. The problem is all the mature beans are up at the top, some 12 to 15 feet above my head. So I'll probably be doing something drastic, and that'll be topping these bean vines. But I'll do a video on that. It can be done. It won't hurt them. It will set them back a little bit, but they will resprout. It'll force laterals to come out of the leaf crotches, and wherever there's a lateral, and what a lateral is where the branch or leaf connects with the main stem, a new leaf and or vine will start, similar to tomato suckers. But you'll be able to watch it here. The squash plants are coming along nicely. And one thing I'd like to say, I have searched and searched and searched this year for squash bugs. I have yet to find one. And I've yet to find a stink bug. Now, this place was polluted with them last year. They were everywhere. I was smashing them with my fingers by the hundreds last year. But this year, not a single one, and I have not sprayed not one time. And I'm going to do a video on why that is, because I forgot about what to do last year too. But then I remembered this year. Well, really, actually I remembered last fall. The okra plants here are starting to come along now. Have another one right over there. And lastly, for veg, we've got our cobra green beans. They too, you can notice, are shy of some leaves down this area. They were cleared of all their leaves by the deer, as were the blauhilde over here. But the cobra has started to regrow leaves in each of the old crotch points with the main vine. And it's starting to set some beans. There's a little one right there. There are more up in here if I can find them. There's one right there. And more up there. So they are coming back. Here again, they were way slower in coming back than the rattlesnake pole bean. Now the blauhilde, I don't see a whole lot of regrowth where the deer ate off all the leaves in this section. So, not sure how they're going to do. Right now, my bean trials, pole bean trials, they're coming in at dead last. The cobras may have some opportunity. But the blauhilde, which is a purple variety from Germany, I just don't think it's going to make it in deep south. We'll just have to wait and see. Haven't given up, but it's not looking too promising right now. So the last thing I want to check is our fig tree. See how it's doing. Now this fig tree has a lot of unripe figs on it still, as you can see. And they're all over the place. Find some more in here. Some right there. Some there. And they're all in here, as you can see. But I've only had 2 ripen so far. Now I'm thinking that's because of the extreme drought we've had and extreme heat. It hasn't dropped any figs, so that's a plus. But it's only ripened 2 so far. I'm hoping with all this rain we just got last 2 days, these figs will plump up and we'll be able to start picking figs soon. Now I have enjoyed the 2 that have already ripened. I love figs. And I would encourage you to plant one yourself. They are delicious. And the one thing I want you to note, I have no pest problem with figs. They just grow. Nothing seems to bother them. Now, I did have a little bit of rust last year, but I hit them with some fungicide, hydrogen peroxide, and this year, not an issue. But think about it. Put you in some figs come spring. That's pretty much all we got to show you for our garden walkabout. Like I said, we will be starting some new seeds and pots tomorrow. That'll be some tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, and other mid-season vegetables that we still have time for. We'll be starting some more green beans. They'll be of the bush variety, and we'll be setting them in the raised bed so it can add. We'll be setting them in the raised bed. We'll be setting them in the raised bed to provide nitrogen to the soil for the plantings we will put in mid to late fall that will overwinter. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and taking a walk with me today. I share the successes and the failures. Try to tell you what's going on in real time. So with that, folks, y'all take care out there. Stay safe. God bless. Till the next time, goodbye for now. Mur, you keep knocking me around and shaking the camera. You just want some attention? Okay, Mur. You're my buddy. Yep, I love you too. I gotta go in now. Put the camera up. Big old baby.